I'd been married for 2 years, and my husband asked for a divorce 9 times. On the 10th time, he died. I never knew my husband actually loved me until I was sorting through his belongings after his death. This fool had been hiding his true feelings all along. If only I could have a second chance. The next morning, I opened my eyes to find my supposedly dead husband lying next to me. His first words? "Let's get divorced. Just so you know," I replied. "You've got 8 more chances before you die." Mark had died suddenly. That morning, he'd emotionlessly told me we were going to file for divorce that afternoon. Instead, I received news of his death. While sorting through his things at home, I discovered a hidden box. Inside were all the mementos from our relationship. At the very bottom lay 48 love letters. I checked the dates, 1 letter every month from when we started dating through our marriage, never missing a single month. I had no idea Mark loved me. I always thought our marriage was just a moment of impulse or a convenient arrangement. Looking at those letters, my heart ached so badly I couldn't even find the courage to open them. That's when I realized why I'd never agreed to his divorce requests. I had fallen in love with him long ago. I must have dozed off in the study. When I opened my eyes again, I was in our bedroom with Mark breathing steadily beside me. Was this a dream? I pinched Mark hard. He groggily opened his eyes. "Babe, what's wrong?" he mumbled. He was alive. I threw myself on top of him, frantically touching him from head to toe. Needing to feel his warmth, Mark dodged my hands before finally flipping me over and pinning me down. I froze, not daring to move. He didn't linger, just got up and started getting dressed. "By the way, come home early today. I need to talk to you about something," he said casually. I frowned. That sentence sounded familiar. A year ago, when Mark first brought up divorce, he'd said the exact same thing. That night, I'd received divorce papers. He'd been incredibly generous, giving me all our property while taking nothing for himself. I quickly checked my phone. It really was a year ago. Had I traveled back in time? So Mark was still alive at this point. "Why are you crying?" he asked. I hadn't even realized tears were streaming down my face. Mark was completely startled. He rushed over and hugged me. "Are you feeling sick somewhere?" His concern seemed genuine. I wanted to ask him about those 48 love letters I'd never seen. I wanted to ask why he'd never expressed his feelings for me. But when I opened my mouth, what came out was, "Mark, let's get divorced." Mark froze. He slowly released me. "Emma, that's not possible." Then, as if making a firm decision, he said deliberately, "Hate me, blame me if you want, but I will never agree to divorce you." This wasn't how it happened before. My marriage to Mark was an accident. He was my ex-boyfriend Nathan's roommate in college, the typical genius type. We didn't interact much. With typical male jealousy, Nathan had described Mark as a flower on a high cliff, unapproachable. My relationship with Nathan had been passionate. I thought we'd be together forever, but he suddenly disappeared after graduation. I went crazy looking for him everywhere, refusing to believe he'd just break up with me like that. Finally, Mark contacted me, explaining that Nathan had gone to America for family reasons and couldn't contact me. Nathan had apparently asked Mark to look after me. 2 years later, we got married. I proposed, but I never expected Mark to say yes. Afterward, I genuinely wanted to build a life with Mark. I even thought we were doing well together, until he asked for a divorce. If he didn't want to divorce me because he didn't love me, then why? I suspected the secret lay in the remaining 24 letters, but since I was back to a year ago, Mark's secret box only contained 24 love letters so far. My only source of information was Mark himself. I waited eagerly for him to come home so we could talk, but instead received a text message. "Got an emergency business trip. Don't wait up for me tonight." At this time last year, all of Mark's projects had been delayed due to COVID. He had no business trips. After thinking for a few seconds, I wondered, had Mark run away after I mentioned divorce? Something felt very strange about all this. I rushed to Mark's office. His assistant followed me, saying, "Mr. Wilson really is on a business trip. He's not in his office. You should." Before she could finish, I pushed open the office door to find Mark sitting there in a suit playing a card game on his phone. The sound effects weren't even muted. I clearly heard the game announcing moves. "So this is your business trip?" I said with a cold smile. Mark was visibly flustered. He tried to hide his phone, then realized that looked suspicious and put it back on the desk. If I said this was a new game our company is developing, would I believe you? Mark's shoulders slumped. "No, come home with me." I basically caught and dragged him home. I was both angry and amused. In college, Mark had been somewhat arrogant, the genius type. After marriage, he was the perfect husband. This was the first time I'd seen him act this way. And playing cards, of all things. I never knew he even played card games. Mark tried to explain. "Honey, I really was supposed to go on a business trip, but because of COVID." I turned to him and decided to be direct. "Mark, why do you want to divorce me?" His footsteps stopped. "Weren't you the one who wanted to divorce me?" When did I ever? Then I remembered I had said something like that this morning, but that was because. What were you going to tell me tonight originally? Mark's eyes started darting around. Nothing. What was it really? Just about the business trip, which is now cancelled. That wasn't it at all. Mark's strange behavior made me suspicious. Maybe it was just my imagination, but Mark seemed very different this time around. I clearly remembered that a year ago today, Mark had brought up divorce for the first time. When I asked him why, he had just brushed me off saying he was tired. From that day on, we slept in separate rooms. But now, Mark was lying beside me, breathing evenly. He was even unconsciously holding my hand. My thoughts were a mess. I didn't know where things had gone wrong. I stared at Mark, constantly needing to check if the person beside me was still alive. Like what you see, he suddenly opened his eyes, startling me.